They say he only appears when you're alone. You hear the tap of his cane first, metal on stone, sharp, rhythm like a heartbeat you can't outrun. He steps from a doorway that wasn't there a second ago. Top hat, teeth too white, eyes like two bottomless wells. He knows your name, knows what you lost, knows what you want so badly you haven't even admitted it to yourself yet. And when he offers you a deal, the first thing he asks is, how much is your soul really worth?
Welcome to the Sins of the Century, where history bleeds through folklore and the stories we thought we knew reveal their true twisted roots. I am the archivist.
And I am the storyteller. Tonight we're talking about the real voodoo man behind Disney's Dr. Facilier from The Princess and the Frog. You know the one. Charming, slick, a little dangerous, sings to spirits, deals in souls, and always has friends on the other side.
I don't think it's that charming.
Really? Because he fooled Tiana and Prince Navee. Prince Navee was pretty easy, but Tiana, that took a little bit. But what if that character wasn't just fiction? What if Disney barely scratched the surface? Ready for this one? Okay. Good, because tonight we will walk straight into New Orleans, the crossroads of jazz, death, magic, and the real shadow man who walked its streets. So let's start with what we know. Dr. Facilier, purple vest, skull face paint, voodoo talismans. Dances with shadows, talks to spirits, makes deals that always go wrong. But here's what Disney doesn't tell you. That look, it's taken straight from a real spiritual figure called Baron Samedi. I'm pretty sure I said that wrong. One of the most feared and respected spirits in Haitian voodoo. Baron wears a top hat, paints his face like a skull, smokes cigars, drinks rum, rules the dead, but laughs like the living. And he's the gatekeeper between this world and the next. If you could meet someone like that, would you ask for something or run?
Run.
Run? I would need to think about it.
It's kind of like the genie, you know? Like,
well, no, except with the, you know what you're giving up, your soul. Okay, Facilier even moves like Baron Samedi. Flamboyant, fast, slippery, but there's more. Because in Louisiana voodoo, not Haitian voodoo, there was another man. One who walked the real streets of New Orleans. A man who called himself Dr. John. And that's who we're going to meet next. Born in the early 1800s, Dr. John Montanet was a free black man of African descent, possibly Senegalese or Congolese, who claimed he was a prince, a magician, and a voodoo priest. He wore a tall top hat, carried live snakes, performed ceremonies on the banks of Lake Pontchartrain with fire, feathers, bones, and drums. People said he could predict death, speak to ancestors, even raise storms. And here's the wild part. We don't actually know how much of it was real and how much was performance. Do you think he really had power, or was he just giving people the show they craved?
I think he was just showing a show.
You're not a believer in the supernatural?
No.
Really?
Not in people anyways. I think nature, yes. But not in people.
What if he was just a spirit pretending to be a person?
I think it takes too much energy to make or create.
Okay. Well, either way, people were terrified and fascinated. And rich white folks, they paid him for protection, paid him for potions, paid him to stay on his good side. He was the original shadow man of New Orleans. And Dr. Facilier is absolutely modeled after him, mixed with Bottom Samedi style and spiritual authority. Here's where things get misunderstood. Voodoo isn't black magic. It's not devil worship. It's not cursing dolls or chanting spells over cauldrons. It's a spiritual practice rooted in West African religion, brought over by enslaved Africans and blended with Catholic saints and indigenous beliefs. Real Louisiana voodoo is about honoring ancestors, seeking balance and protection, working with spirits called Loa to ask for guidance. So what Facilier's doing in the movie, making soul contracts, talking to shadows, summoning glowing masks, that's mostly Hollywood. But the idea of dealing with spirits or trading something precious for power, That part is very real in both Louisiana and Haitian practice. Would you make a deal like that if it meant changing your fate?
No.
No. Well, because in the French Quarter, they say deals like that still happen. Not in black alleys, not in graveyards, but in moments when you're so desperate, when you're willing to whisper into the dark and hope something answers. So let's talk about shadows. In The Princess and the Frog, Dr. Facilier isn't alone. He's got friends on the other side. Ghostly hands, screaming masks, spirits that slither through cracks in the wall. You ever wonder where that came from? Because it's not just a cartoon idea, it's real voodoo. Spirits don't just listen, they answer, but not all of them are kind. We talked about him earlier, but now let's get deeper. Baron Samedi is one of the most famous Loa spirits in Haitian voodoo. He rules the grave, greets the dead, dances with skeletons, smokes cigars, and he laughs. Always. He wears a black suit and top hat. Sound familiar? And he paints his face like a skull to represent the boundary between the living and the dead. But he's not evil. He's powerful, yes, unpredictable, crude, but he protects the dead, helps heal the sick, and punishes liars, especially the ones who think they can cheat death. What do you think? Scary or kind of fair?
Fair.
Yeah? Dr. Facilier's entire deal, making soul bargains, dancing on the edge of life and death, that's pure Baron Samedi energy. So where Baron is a guardian, Facilier is a greedy, and that's where the trouble starts. New Orleans is packed with ghost stories, but some of them aren't stories, they're warnings. There's a well-known one about a man, no name, no grave, just called the Walker. He appears outside Baron Street bars just before closing, dressed sharp, smiles wide. He offers you a chance to get everything back. Some say he's a ghost, some say he's a Lao. Others say he's just what happens when someone calls out for help and something darker answers. One woman claims she met him after losing her job and home in the same week. She said he gave her a card with no number, just a symbol. She never told anyone what happened next, but 3 years later, she was found dead in her house, surrounded by mirrors, covered in red cloth, and a candle still burning. If that story was told to you as a kid, would you laugh or believe it?
Probably believe it. As a kid, yeah. You know, as a kid, you believe in a lot of things. Santa Claus, Easter Bunny. You know?
I'm still upset about the fact that I was told Santa Claus doesn't exist. Okay. And that's the thing. These stories teach us something, that the line between asking for help and summoning something is thinner than we think. Let's pause and get real. What Disney and Hollywood in general have done to voodoo is not just creative license. It's erasure, demonization, and exotism. They take a system of faith that blends West African beliefs, ancestor reverence, and nature worship, and they twist it into curses and evil dolls. Facilier isn't a priest. He's a deal broker, a slick villain, and in most movies, voodoo equals evil. But the real thing is about balance. It's about healing, protection, power through ritual. Yes, but rooted in community and respect. So when Disney made a black villain who practices voodoo in a film meant to represent, with air quotes, African American culture, let's just say they played into some very old stereotypes. You think people understand that, or do most folks still think voodoo equals evil?
I think a lot of people think it's evil. Because it's like you said, it's always represented in movies as evil.
Okay. Here's the wild part, though. Even with all the misrepresentations, Facilier still became iconic. Why? Because deep down, people love the idea of bargaining with shadows. The thrill of risk, the chance to rewrite fate. The mystery of the man who always knows more than he should. In real voodoo, or voodoo beliefs, they're spelled differently, but I can't pronounce them differently. There are many spirits. Some are protectors, some are tricksters, and some, like Baron Samedi, walk the line. They're called when people are desperate. They're honored with altars, they're offered food, liquor, tobacco, gifts, and sometimes, or something more valuable. But you don't ask them for help without knowing what they might want in return. Some spirits are kind. Some just wear kindness like a mask. And that's what Disney gets right, the danger of casual deals. Would you ever make a deal, even a small one, with something you couldn't truly understand?
Nope, never. Never. Never.
I'd still need a minute to think about it.
You don't even need a minute. Just say no. Hell no.
You know, I'm easily, what's the word that I'm looking for? What's the word that I'm looking for?
Manipulated?
Not really manipulated, convinced.
Convinced.
Easily influenced. That's the word that I'm looking for. Like that time I joined that cult. I'm so easily influenced. That's why I don't like listening to like preacher stuff, because like, oh yeah, I can see where that's coming from.
Then I should convince you to ride a bike with me.
You already have.
No, ride a bike.
I've ridden a bike with you.
Not as passenger.
Oh. No. That's too scary.
Think about it. It saves a lot of gas.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna end up like that girl, covered in road rash, screaming my eyes out.
Because you'll have gear.
Still very scary, and I'm sure I still would break something.
I don't think so.
Mom. Because in The Princess and the Frog, Facilier dies alone, swallowed by his own shadows, dragged into the afterlife by the very spirits he thought he controlled. And in Voodoo, that's exactly what would happen to someone who disrespects the spirit they claim to serve. Now, before we close the quote-unquote circle, there's one more figure we need to meet. The one who doesn't make deals in the dark. She doesn't beg spirits, she commands them. The one the city still whispers about. Marie Laveau, the Queen of New Orleans. Ever heard of her?
No. Never heard of that.
Have you watched, I asked this, knowing the answer, American Horror Story?
I wanted to, but never watched it.
She shows up during the witch season. It's really interesting. Born around 1801, Marie Laveau was Creole, part African, part French, and part indigenous. She wasn't a villain, she wasn't a cartoon, she was a healer, a hairdresser, a midwife, a priest, and a master of ritual. She walked through every layer of New Orleans, the elite salons, the slave quarters, the hidden graveyards, and everywhere she went, people respected her, or feared her, or both. They said she could bring back lovers, heal disease, make judges change their minds. They left offerings on her grave long after she died, and some still do. Do you think her power comes from belief or something worse?
I don't know.
You don't know? I don't know. I think some people are genuinely born with a stronger connection to the spiritual world. Marie Laveau's version of voodoo wasn't about shadows. It was about justice, community, balance. But just like Facilier, she worked at a crossroads, not just between life and death, but between cultures, religions, and classes. And in voodoo, the crossroads is sacred, because it's where the deals are made. Here's the thing most people miss. The crossroads is more than a metaphor. It's a place where worlds touch. In voodoo belief, it's where the living can speak to spirits, where magic becomes real, where offerings are left and picked up. In blues music, it's where musicians sell their souls for talent. In New Orleans, it's where you leave something behind if you want to gain something else. Facilier's biggest mistake? He didn't respect the crossroads. He wanted power, but didn't honor what it cost. He tried to control the spirits meant to be served. He took from the other side and gave nothing back. What do you think you'd have to give up to get something truly powerful?
A life.
To have reign, control over the spirits in the afterlife, just one life or multiple?
Probably multiple. Like,
can you imagine one of the oldest serial killers is a serial killer because he needed the sacrifices to be able to have the power that he wanted?
I don't think
The
so.
Zodiac killer. That's why he was never caught.
No, I don't think so.
It reminds me of that movie, Long Legs.
I never watched it.
Oh, I did. It was terrible.
I know it was terrible, so I didn't watch it.
It was essentially the serial killer kills because he made a deal with the devil. And he only kills families, but the way that he does it is that he forces the families to kill each other, but he still reaps the benefits. But people realize that this is weird. Why are families killing themselves in this specific manner? They realize there's a serial killer. They just don't realize how it like plays into all of this, how they get people to kill themselves and their families. But in the end, it ended up being devil worship, which kind of pissed me off. I would have enjoyed that he was just a really good mastermind of a serial killer, because nothing's scarier than actually human nature. In the end, the spirits don't forget. Facilier's shadow drags him screaming into the underworld. No glory, no redemption, just a tombstone with his face and his name erased. So here's what this story is really about. It's not about voodoo being good or evil. It's not about cartoon villains or spooky songs. It's about desire. What you'll trade, what you'll risk, what you'll sacrifice for something you think will fix you. Facilier wasn't cursed. He cursed himself. He walked into the shadows thinking he was the master, and learned too late that shadows don't serve, they collect. New Orleans doesn't forget. The spirits don't sleep, and the crossroads is still waiting. So next time you make a wish out loud, you better ask yourself, who's listening?
The Voodoo Man.
The Voodoo Man.
Thanks for joining us on Since the Century, where legends breathe and history bleeds through the veil. If you liked tonight's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and tell us, would you ever make a deal with the other side? Until next time, lock your doors, respect the dead, and watch your shadows, because some spirits don't knock.